So here's a little bit of a backstory about this photo. The image is from 1945 and it shows a physicist called 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐚. He is holding the core of the Nagasaki Fat Man bomb. The bomb that was detonated above the city of Nagasaki and it's responsible for 80,000 deaths. And when the bombing in Hiroshima happened, he flew in a plane to see and record the explosion. The most disturbing part is that he smiles and he seems happy about all that. So here's a little bit of backstory about this photo. You may be wondering, how did they lose the child? The kid was actually playing along the shoreline. Then the sea started getting aggressive and the waves reached out and took the child with them. Despite all the efforts, the parents could do nothing but wait. And later that day, the child's body was found on the beach a mile away. But the image won the 1955 Pulitzer Award. Also, some say that they can see the child from this photo, but I have no idea where it is. So here's a little bit of backstory about this one. The man walked into the Swedish school dressed as Darth Vader and students thought that it was a Halloween prank. He didn't say a word and he was carrying around a sword. But some students still took pictures with him. At some point the teacher asked him to leave, but instead he stopped him. He then turned to the students, stopped two of them and then attacked another teacher. He was hunting down the students until the police arrived and fatally shot the man. And later they found a suicide note where he said that this would be his final act. So here's a little bit of backstory. In 1972, the plane of the Uruguayan rugby team crashed into the Andes. 33 out of 45 survived the crash. They had some shelter, but the food was gone in 1 week. So they made the hard decision to eat the corpses of their friends. Over the next few weeks, more of them died and only 16 were still alive. But while trying to find a way to escape, they came across 2 herdsmen from a village. So they notified the authorities and they were saved. So here's some backstory. This is Rodney Alcala, also known as the dating game killer. When he appeared on the dating show, he had already killed at least 5 women. And he was also charged for attempted murder of a little girl. But the show didn't run a background check and he actually won. So everything went as he planned, but that plan was kinda weird. In total, he killed at least 9 women and girls, but the actual number could be above 100. He would strangle his victims, wait for them to regain consciousness, and then kill them. So here's a little bit of context about this photo. While the mother of the toddler was distracted, 2 boys approached the kid, took him by his hand and led him out of the mall. They took him to a railway station and they started torturing him there. They beat him, they threw things at him, and did some even worse things that I cannot mention. And the toddler suffered 42 injuries in total. His body was found 2 days later and the boys were arrested a few days after that. They were sent to a Young Offenders Institute, where they stayed until their release at the age of 18 in 2001. So here's some backstory about this one. This photo was taken during the Columbine High School massacre in 1999, when the 2 12th grade students started firing outside the school. The teacher, David Sanders, ran to the cafeteria and sounded the alarm. He and 2 janitors helped more than 100 students get away from the shooters. He saved a great number of lives that day. But when the teacher ran upstairs, he came across the 2 shooters. He was shot in the torso, head and neck. He died from blood loss and the shooters committed suicide. So, in November 2004, Joanne Porco and Peter Porco were brutally attacked by the 21-year-old son, Chris Porco. The authorities believe that he wanted their $1 million insurance payout. He struck his father in the head with an axe 16 times. Joanne, his mother, was also hit by the axe, but only 3 times. You could even see her brain, but she was alive and conscious. When the police arrived at the scene, she indicated that her younger son was the attacker. But she stood by her son through everything. She accompanied him to court and she testified for his defense. She said that she didn't remember anything and that her son would never commit such a crime. Daisy, give me your hand. So this is the 18-year-old Jolie Cullen. One day she agreed to meet her ex for one last hiking trip. He was very jealous, and he would say that he would kill himself if she broke up with him. And before they met, she jokingly texted a friend, "If something happens to me, you know who I was with." And this was the last photo he took of her before shooting her twice. He fired the first bullet in the back of her head. When she collapsed, he flipped her over and shot her once more between the eyes. And then he kicked her off the 40-foot cliff. He then called 911, admitted his crime in a very calm voice, and then waited for the police.
I'm half crazy. All for the love of you.
So Dennis Rader was living a double life. A devoted family and company man by day, and he terrorized Kansas as the BTK killer at night, killing 10 people in total. BTK stands for Bind, Torture, Kill, as he noted in a message that he left for the cops. He actually sent letters describing his crimes in detail to the police, local newspaper and local TV station. He even sent a poem once, but his ego led him to his arrest. 30 years after his first murder, he sent a computer disk to the police, and that led them to Rader's church. A DNA test soon confirmed that Rader was BTK and he was arrested.
I'm half crazy. All for the love of...
Let's take a look at the mysterious case of Tereska. She actually didn't grow up in a concentration camp. She was living in Warsaw, the capital of Poland. When she was only 4 years old, her home was destroyed during the bombings of Warsaw, and her grandmother was shot by some soldiers. And Tereska was struck by a fragment of a bomb that left her brain damaged. Tereska and her sister left the city and were starving for 3 weeks. She was later sent to a mental asylum, and as a teenager she was addicted to alcohol and cigarettes. And 30 years later she accidentally choked on a piece of sausage that she had stolen from another patient and died.
I'm half crazy. All for the love of you.
So, the pictures were taken by Darsh Patel while hiking in New Jersey with 4 friends. At some point they were warned by a couple that there was a bear in the direction they were heading to, but they wanted to see the bear. When they came somewhat close to the bear, they stopped and they started taking pictures of it, but it started following them. When it came near them, they split up and ran away. The last thing they saw of Darsh was him climbing a rock trying to escape. His body was later found in the bottom of a ravine with the bear circling it. The bear was killed and human remains were found in the bear's stomach.
Half crazy. All for the love of you.
So, let's talk about the Menendez brothers. On August 1989, Eric and Lyle, aged 18 and 21, bought shotguns from a store. 2 days later, they shot their parents 15 times while they were watching TV. It is said that they were afraid of being written out of the will and losing the money. Lyle shot their father in the face and both of their kneecaps to make the crime look like that of a similar organized crime. And then they went to watch the Batman movie. After that, they returned home, called the police and said that someone had killed their parents. They were eventually arrested 6 months later after they had spent $70,000. But recently, people on TikTok have been calling for their release because the brothers claim that their parents abused them. But what do you think?
Give me your answer, too.
So here's some backstory. People who pass by the playground often say that they can see the swings moving on their own. People have also seen orbs or some weird figures. According to the legend, a lot of children that died during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic were buried in the cemetery that is next to the playground. And the spirits of those children, some say, come out after dark to run and play.
Before this photo was taken and any of his friends knew, Tyler Hadley killed both of his parents and then threw a house party.
Tyler was the quiet kid in school, so everyone was surprised when he decided to throw a huge party. When he was only 10 years old, he swore that he would kill his parents after a fight that they had. 2 weeks before the party, he said to a friend that he wanted to kill his parents and then throw a big party. No one has ever done that, he said. He took some ecstasy pills and he started beating his mother to death with the close side of the hammer. When she started screaming, his father came in and Tyler killed him the same way. Then he locked the bodies in the bedroom. After all that, he posted on Facebook that he will be having the party. At some point, people noticed a weird smell, and he confessed his crime to a friend and they took a last photo together. Later that night, the police came to his house, found the bodies, and he was arrested.
I'm half crazy. All for the love of you.
So, Robert Ben Rhodes was a serial killer who murdered more than 50 women. One day he saw Regina Walters and her boyfriend hitchhiking. They had run away from their homes and Robert picked them up. He immediately killed her boyfriend, but he held Regina captive for a very long period of time. He took her to an abandoned farmhouse. He shaved her head, he forced her to wear a dress, and he took pictures of her. After doing some horrible things to her, he strangled her with a wire and left her body there. He was arrested later that year after killing more than 50 women between 1975 and 1990.